Hello, today is Friday, April 30th, and today I did some competition lift work and some front squats and pull-ups. And today, snatches didn't go super great, but my clean and jerks went really well. And then front squats were also so-so, but I'll sort of talk about each one as they come. But with snatches, I think the good thing, if I were to sort of take away one good thing from today, from these snatches, is that I hit a pretty cool milestone, which is a body weight snatch. Well, a little bit over body weight snatch. I float around 190 or so, and I hit 195, which 195 was the weight for my working sets, and I didn't make a single double. But I did make a few reps here and there, so I can officially say that I snatched body weight, which is a pretty cool milestone, given I started weightlifting in December maybe, so it's been about the tail end of December, so it's been about 4 months or so, and 4 months in, hit a body weight snatch, which is pretty cool. During my warm-ups, they felt pretty good, I think, just in general. I think one big thing, though, with snatches is that it's pretty mental. Like, in approaching 195, whenever, just because it's a weight I've never hit before, and because in my head it's, like, kind of cool that it's a body weight snatch, I approach it with this fear that I'm not going to get it high enough, just because it's a weight I've never touched. And so I sort of rely on my legs, don't really use my upper body very well, and I just sort of dive under it, hoping to get it. And it's been a problem. That's been a problem that I've had for the last few weeks or so. And it's just, it's definitely, I do it more when it's a weight that's, obviously, like, I don't know, if I were to approach 195 as if it was like a warm-up weight, or like, I don't know, somehow convince myself that it's a warm-up weight, then I think I'd be able to do it fine. But it's just the fact that these are my working sets. This is the weight that I'm using for my working sets. And like, I want to make all of these. And so that's the mindset that kind of fucks me up. Cause like 185 too, I think given the fact that it was a warm-up made it easier to execute. So I make this first rep, which I'm pretty happy with. And then, same issue of just not using my upper body enough to pull it back to where it needs to be. This, I think I sort of overcorrect and I pull a little too hard, and I'm also just not ready to catch it with my upper body. And then this, I cut the pull short with my arms. One cue I tried thinking about was like pulling my elbows back in the same way I did for my cleans yesterday. But I don't know if this is a universal thing or this is just me, but it felt a lot harder to execute on the snatch versus the clean. Just don't have very good control with it of my upper body. Here I put a question mark for the second rep because this is sort of the closest thing to a make. I don't think it's a make. I don't really know. I just sort of, I probably could have done a better job of, the elbows were definitely, closest thing to a make, like for a set. And I was determined to get this set, but I do not. Spoiler alert. But I mean, honestly, I know it's, I just wasn't ready to catch it with my upper body, or I didn't have enough control of it with my upper body. Again, like just the same way it has been for the last few weeks. Objectively, it wasn't very good. I only made 3 reps out of the 10 that I did, but I had a pretty, I think, good mindset about it afterwards. I really wasn't phased for when I started the clean and jerks. I was pretty nervous with the clean and jerks though, because I was aiming to hit 245, and I only hit it for 1 rep on Thursday with the power jerk. And so I was like, because I'm technically worse at the split jerk than the power jerk, probably, I would say. I was like, I don't know if I'll make any of these, but this one idea that I talked about with my coach yesterday of having my elbows a little bit more down and packing the lats and making sure my upper body's engaged so that I can actually push with my upper body, that helped tremendously today. It made it feel like the weight was way lighter than it was feeling on Thursday. And I did 5 sets. I only missed the first jerk, the first set, just because I think it was out a little forwards, and so I couldn't catch very well. But even that one, I think my arms were locked. And then after that, the next 4, I made all of them. And I don't think I've ever jerked 245. I guess other than yesterday for like that first set. But yeah, really happy with how that went. And the cleans too. Like 245 cleans felt easier than they ever have, from one attempting to catch it higher and make that turnover smoother by pulling back with my elbows. The same idea I was trying to implement on the snatch, but just didn't do as well. But in the cleans, I do a lot better. I think, though, I will say the first set, I don't do a very good job of that. Again, same sort of mental thing where I don't think I'll get it high enough, so I just try to get under it as fast as possible, even though I have plenty of height, and then it crashes down on me. Same thing with the exact same thing that happened with a lot of the snatches. That happened on the first set, the first working set, which I think was what also made me not very ready for that jerk, just because it made it way harder than it needed to be. But then when I rewatched the video, I was like, oh, okay, I'm getting plenty of height. I can afford to catch it higher and ride it down. And so I think realizing that after the first set was what made the rest of the cleans a lot better. So here's 210. Second to last warm-up, I believe. Still catching it really high. I think 210 is a pretty good number as to how, as a gauge of how my jerks will feel. Although the sort of recovery was a little bit weird with my feet, the overhead position felt really solid. And then same with 230 too. And so I knew, I was like, okay, maybe 245 is going to go well. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, even the elbows were sketched even a little bit there, but it just felt like I had way more support with my upper body. Yeah, so that one was what I was just talking about, where I caught it a little too low, and so it crashed down on me, and then it threw me forward. That wasn't super good either. But yes, at this point, I'm just because they were way harder than it needed to be, I was just tired. Split position isn't very good either, but I mean, even so, I had my arms locked overhead, even with that bad of a jerk. But I think that just says a lot as to how much that having my elbows lower thing, how much that helped, and packing the lats and engaging the upper body. So after all of these, or from this point on, I make everything, which is awesome. Yes! Yeah. So that one was the first one that I knew this is a make, it might not be pretty, but it's a make. And so that's why I was pretty stoked about it. And then this set is probably my best set, at least in regards to the jerk. I think this one has the best weight distribution in my split, and also is just the most solid, I think. Yeah, I think so, at least. At least that's how it felt. So yeah, at that point I was like, hell yeah, these are feeling great. So yeah, the rest of the cleans went just fine. Even though I was pretty tired, I still made them. That sort of, because I had made the cleans and the jerks till this point, at this point, the whole confidence thing was not an issue, about getting this, weight, or I guess being able to catch it at the right height, and having the confidence to actually jerk it and try to get it underneath it instead of just failing before I even try. But so here's my last clean and jerk. is a make. Maybe not the prettiest, again, but they're makes, you know what I mean? So it's a good point to improve upon. So yeah, that's how cleans went. And then front squats didn't go as well as they did last week. And I think a big part of it is the fact that so last week I did the front squats on Saturday instead of Friday. And when I did them on Saturday, I was way less tired than I was now after having done the competition lifts. And on Saturday last week, I hit 325 and it was pretty easy. And so today, when I was thinking about what weight to hit, I didn't really consider the fact that I would be much more tired today. And I was like, okay, we'll go for 335. And so I hit that for my first set. I made the first rep and I actually failed the second one. It definitely wasn't an issue with the strength of like my legs. It was just that you can see here that the first rep was actually not that bad. It didn't even feel that bad or like that hard or anything. It was just the second rep. I just sort of, my front rack sort of rounded over and gave out and the weight fell forward. So yeah, so I was like, that's when I sort of realized. I was like, oh shit, maybe I'm much more tired now than I was on Saturday. So it would be unrealistic to try to go up from there. So I took off the 10s on each side, went for 315, and then this set is unfortunate because the same thing happened a few weeks ago, or maybe it was a week ago, where the bar was just pressing down on my windpipe and it just made me feel really, really dizzy. I'm surprised that I was able to rack it, honestly, and that I didn't just drop it because I was like really dizzy. But if I hadn't done that, then I think I would have definitely gotten the second rep. But regardless, I was just like, okay, let's just drop the weight again. And so I took off 10 pounds off each side again and then did that set and then called it a day. And then I did some pull-ups. Not eventful, but yeah, I mean, overall, I'm really happy with the way clean and jerks went. I'm happy that I hit a bodyweight snatch. Yeah, I mean, solid day, I think, overall.